Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you guys here. We're going to do another discussion piece video today. It's fun. I really enjoy making these. So we're going to be doing these for a little while, right? Just talking about different things, like I mentioned in the third year video. In this one, we're going to be talking about Vegito and Gogeta. And the reason for that is because I feel like in the community, these guys have kind of fallen off a lot. A lot of people are not very pleased with them. A lot of people don't like these guys anymore. Most people in general will say that these cards are mediocre, or they've aged poorly, right? A lot. That's kind of like the big talk of the town is that these guys are not good anymore, right? And I do agree to some points, but I don't agree to some. Again, I do know that it does take 11 turns for these guys to fully build up. I am completely aware. It does take a while. However, just because it takes them 11 turns to fully build up, it does not mean after turn 4, when this guy is launching 2, 3, or 4 million attack stats, raising his defense, that is bad. I don't think so. I think they're still pretty good. I think that these forms, the base forms, have aged really poorly. I think these have aged. I mean, 70% attack and defense with 3 key. Launches an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super. And all they do is stack attack here. They have a high chance of evading enemies' attack, including super attack, as a third attack in their turn. That's cool. But, again, it is a high chance. So, there's always a chance of you getting wrecked. If this was 100% attack and defense, right? Just a straight 100% attack and defense, these guys would have been a million times better. I think, because the thing is, like, if we're looking at content like the GTLGE, you're looking at the God event, it does take a little while for these guys to get it going. So again, having that third slot is kind of like the defensive mechanism for these guys. So you leave them in that third slot, you kind of hope they dodge everything, and then you start bringing them on the fourth. But the thing is, once you start bringing them on the fourth, you can't. These guys are not front slot units. Neither of them are front slot. They cannot do well. And the same thing with these, right? They are not good for the front. Unless there's like maybe one attack, because they get their they get a big chunk of their defense on their super attack, especially for this Vegito right here, because remember, he gets his guaranteed super attacks when he's in the first or second slot. So he's getting a 60% defense increase every time he super attacks for that turn. So you want him to kind of super first. And Gogeta also gets his defense from his 18 and 12 key as well. So he could, if you give him a good amount of additional, this guy actually does have a pretty good chance, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it when he does his, additional super attacks from like the hit a potential system, right? So, I do think that it is I think it's definitely something that they're good with. The only problem, again, is that it takes a while for them to transform. So they are never a front slot unit. You want them in that third till they transform, and then once you have them transformed, you need to keep them in that second. And the thing is, the way they stack defense is very slowly. They get an additional key +1 and 5%. Key +5 in attack and defense of 7% up to 77 with each attack performed. So that takes a while to fully build up. Obviously, that's why I mentioned 11 attacks. It takes a minute, right? So that hurts a lot. So their defense, and even if they're fully built up, their defense is not really good enough for these hard events. And by the time like you get to Super Saiyan 4 Goku, by the time you get to, like kind of like the last stages of a God event, these guys will not do justice in that front. So they kind of have some things that kind of hinder them, in my honest opinion. I do think that they're good. They're not great for hard content. I don't like them in ESPR. I do know that they could dodge in the third, but the problem is if they don't dodge, you're taking like a million damage. And the attack numbers that these guys put out, they're not that great. Again, in their base forms. Their base forms are not the greatest in the world. I feel like if they just added a bit more attack and defense to their base, it would have definitely significantly helped them. The cool thing is this guy, they do stack attack beforehand. So having that helps them out tremendously, getting that extra attack in, which is cool. So, and the increases are pretty noticeable. It's 30%. But I do think that they've aged. I do think that they've aged a bit poorly. And how they've been making units recently. They're making units in a way where like they want them out of the gate great. And these guys take a while to really start kind of like going. I mean, don't get me wrong, their base forms are good, but they're not really like base forms that you're like, oh snap, these are insane base forms, yes, type of deal. It's they're okay. They get you by. They do the job, but they're not really necessarily like the greatest units in the entire world. Not by any means necessary, right? So let me know, by the way, let me know how you guys feel about them. You know, in harder content, right? In harder content, these guys destroy. I mean, if it's a long event, these guys will do plenty of damage. They will do what they need to do. Their defense is like mainly the main issue with them. The defense is going to be low, right? Their defense is typically pretty low, which hurts them for sure. I think that's like one of like the biggest hindrances of this unit is that their defense is just like very subpar and it's not very good. And I think that's definitely like something that really hurts them, is that defense. So, if they ever EZA, which they will, I don't know when they'll EZA, because at some point, right, they can't EZA every single unit in the game, right? I don't think they can. These guys will, if these guys ever got EZAs, I mean, it would be like in 3 or 4 years from now. Like, you know, they're still very good, you know, especially Vegito. You know, when he's fully built up and he does a 7 million attack stat with a 6 million attack, like, or a 5 million attack stat, that's over 12 million damage. If you gave him full crit, he's critting, his defense is going up, and he's also going to be able to have an active skill where he's able to drop it and just go crazy. You know, this guy could do very well. So that is just kind of like some things to kind of note here. This Vegeta, Vegito card can do some very impressive things that still can make him and Gogeta till this day look like, you know, complete beings. But unfortunately, there's other units that could do what they do, but without having all these restrictions. Like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, for example, the Int one, you know, he's able to rock 4 million attacks. That's effective against all types and greatly raising his defense with countering on the super attack. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, this Gogeta could definitely surpass him in terms of attack sets and numbers, but it does take a couple turns. So, you know, that's just kind of like how it is. So, like, today's content doesn't really promote this anymore. It's like the same reason why we don't really talk about Gobros much, just different things like that, right? So, I do think that they're, you know, they have aged. I do think they're still good, but they've aged. I like these cards. However, I'm not a big fan of them anymore. So, you know, it's just kind of like a mixed bag for me, man. It truly is a mixed bag. And, you know, overall, they're okay. I talked a lot more highly about the third years because the third years have probably aged like very gracefully compared to a lot of units, but they're kind of like on a different platform for sure. Again, they were kind of built in a way that like really helps them in all types of content. Like, it's kind of crazy how well those guys were actually designed. So, but that's basically it. Let me know what you guys think about Vegito and Gogeta, man. It definitely goes a long way. Seeing all your comments, definitely let me know in the comments below what you guys think. So I look forward to it. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Yeah.